of cosines. Again, we're going to use this to solve for missing parts of a triangle. We use law of cosines when we cannot use the law of sines. Law of cosines requires, move that over there a little bit, there we go. It requires one pair of opposites, which in the formula are going to be the c's that are across from each other. So this lowercase c and the uppercase c are one pair of opposites, and you will be solving always for the c's. So you're either solving a side length, and it's going to be all by itself on the left, or you're solving for an angle, and it's all by itself on the right. And then there are two other sides that you must know, and those are called A and B in the formula. It doesn't matter which one's which, okay? So we're looking for, instead of two pairs of opposites like the law of sines, one pair of opposites that contains our variable, and then two additional known side lengths, okay? So we are going to do one problem where we're solving for a side length, and then one problem where we're solving for an angle, so you can see both of the ways this formula works. So we're going to start with this one. We are solving for side BC, which BC is opposite letter A. So it's really, if you wanted to label it, you could say lowercase a there. Okay. So A and A are my one pair of opposites. And then I know two additional side lengths. So that's what I need to do the law of sines. If I wasn't sure on like a quiz or a test, those are the things I'd be looking at. All right, I'm going to write down the formula here for you one more time. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine and then a capital C. Don't get too hung up on the A, B, C stuff, because I can call this triangle whatever I want, right? I can call it DEF if I want to. So this triangle doesn't necessarily match up with those letters that we see in the formula. What you need to worry about is that your C's are the opposite pair that you have in the triangle, which are the 59 and the lowercase a that we're solving for. So I'm going to cosine 59 over here. So I always fill that in first. And then the little a and b in the formula are just the other two sides. It doesn't matter which one's which. So 12 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 12 times 13 times cosine 59. Okay. At this point now, your variable that you're solving for is alone, so you can actually just type this whole right side in your calculator, and as long as you're in degree mode, you should be good. So I'll type that in real quick. 12 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 12 times 13 times cosine 59, which gives you 152.31, bless you. And then what do I still have to do to solve for A here? Take the square root at the end. So square root in your calculator, really, you can do square root of the previous answer. That way you're really not rounding until the very end. If I give it 2 decimal places, 12.34 would be the length of that side across. Okay. All right, so that's using the law of cosines to solve for a side length. The side length is going to be alone. Plug everything in the right side of the formula, simplify, take the square root. Does this look familiar? Maybe, no? I feel like it's a Friday before spring break. My brain is not functioning. Okay. We're going to do one more together just to practice, and then the third one's going to be yours to try on a little exit ticket. Okay. So, next problem is, we're going to do this one with the GHI triangle. And we are going to solve for angle G. Okay. So G is opposite 13. That's my one pair of opposites with 2 additional known side lengths. So that tells me I can use the law of cosines. And I'll put the formula on here one more time. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine capital C. So now the little c's are my pair of opposites. This time I know the side length, but I don't know the angle. So my variable is going to be next to that cosine. The other two sides are what you fill in for A and B. So 5 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times 5 times 15 times cosine G. Okay. Solve for G. You have your answer for the angle. This one's a little bit trickier because the g is not by itself already, so you have some simplifying that you have to do. You've got a few more steps. So here's how I would simplify it. I would do 13 squared, which gives me 169. I would do 5 squared and 15 squared and just put those together, which give me 250, minus, and then I would multiply those numbers in front of the cosine together too. 2 times 5 times 15, that's going to give me 150 cosine g. The most common mistake when people are solving with the law of cosines comes next. It is very tempting to want to do this subtraction, the 250 minus 150, but you can't because one of them has the variable with the cosine and the other does not. So because you can't combine those together on the right, you got to start moving things over to the left now. So I'm going to subtract 250 on each side. So 169 minus 250 gives me negative 81. And then make sure you bring down the negative that's in front of your cosine there, so negative 150g. Then we divide by negative 150, which is going to give me 0.454, equals cosine g. And then just like law of sines, we use an inverse sign to cancel the sign out. We're going to do inverse cosine to cancel my cosine out. So inverse cosine of 0.54 gives me 57.3. And you don't have to worry with law of cosines about there being special cases. The only special case where you could potentially have more than one triangle or no triangles is if you're using the law of sines and you're solving for an angle. We are not using the law of sines here. You're always going to get an answer, and you're always going to have only one triangle possible with the law of cosines. Okay. All right. Questions here? Okay, so exit ticket is going to be this problem. I thought I made a clickable link on your Jamboard, but you can't click on it. So go to this website that we did before, apt.formative.com, and you're going to find the 7-2 exit ticket. And it's just this one problem. You're going to solve the triangle. So for this problem, you are going to do the law of cosines 2 times. You're going to do the law of cosines first to solve for a side, and then you're going to do the law of cosines to solve for an angle, and then you can get the third angle from there. So you've got 3 steps. As soon as you are done with this problem on formative, I'll give you the go-ahead, and you guys are done for the day. Okay, and you can take the rest of your work on MathXL or whatever you want to do. Good? Okay, remember 7-1 MathXL is due tonight, 7-2 MathXL and the circuit training, those aren't due until Tuesday after we get back from break. So you guys don't have any homework over break that you have to worry about. Can work together a little bit if you want. Just put your own work on formative when you load it up for me.